Stephanie of Stephanie's Stitches here. Thank you for coming to my channel where together we sew. Today we're going to work on Stephanie's Secret Garden Spring Mystery Quilt. I'm super excited to get started. As you can see, the block behind me on the wall is the block number 1, and we're going to work on that today. I'm really excited for this program. It's a beginner to beginner advanced quilt. It's going to finish pretty large as they're 18-inch blocks, and the blocks will get harder as we go. Nothing too difficult, but you're going to build on your skills that you've learned from the block before. So give me a minute to get the camera readjusted so you can see what I'm doing at my hands and when I'm sewing. You're not going to see my face during that time. Sorry, I don't have 2 cameras, but you'll get to see the project that I'm working on, and I think that's the most important part. So hang on and let's get started sewing. So first I want to say happy Sunday. I'm super excited to sew up the spring quilt with you guys, and just for a few hints, you're going to want to sew everything with a 1/4 inch seam, none of this scant business, a true 1/4 inch seam. I designed all of my patterns that way, and you're going to make 2 blocks every week. So I've already pre-made one of each block so I can show you what we're doing, and then I'm going to make one along with you so I can walk you step by step through each block. If you haven't downloaded the PDF and you're a person who likes written out directions, I have a PDF on my website, and their link is below in the description box, so go ahead and grab that. Those PDFs will only be up until the next block comes out. I'm going to replace it every week with the next block. So if you need that, go ahead and grab it. It'll only be up from this Sunday till the next Sunday. But let's go ahead and get started. So the pieces that you need for this block are, for each block, not for both blocks, are 2 background 7.5 inch squares, 1 green 7.5 inch square, 1 yellow 7.5 inch square, 1 yellow 6.5, 3 6.5 background squares, 1 3.5 inch square, 1 3.5 by 6.5, and 1 3.5 inch red square. So I'm going to put these 6.5 inch squares aside for now because there's nothing that we have to do with those until we get ready to sew the block together. The larger squares and this set of fabrics right here, we need to do something before we can put the whole block together. So I'm going to set those aside for just a minute, and I'm going to start with the red and the white first. So you're going to grab your red square and your white background square, and we're going to join those together. So just flip it on itself, and we're going to do, like I said, 1/4 inch seams for all of this. You're going to put your right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch seam. Hopefully I have bobbin in here. Should have checked that before, huh? And the other thing is, make sure you have an iron close by. If you have got an ironing board you can set up close to your station, or a little one like I've got that you can put right here by you. We're going to iron as we go. Now you don't need to have this. This is my Acorn pressing pen. I just love it to help press seams nice and flat. You'll see it in pretty much all my videos because I love it, but you do not have to have that. I did starch all my fabric with Best Press ahead of time. I guess it's not really starching because it's not starch, but starch alternative. Pressed everything ahead of time, but this just helps get the blocks nice and flat. So I'm going to press towards the red after that's sewn together. Okay, so with this facing me, I'm going to make sure that the red is in the lower right hand corner, and then I'm going to attach the rectangle to the left hand side of it, just like that. So you're going to do the same thing times 2 so you can make 2 blocks. So put that rectangle right on top, and then sew a 1/4 inch right down the left hand side, making sure that red square ends up in the lower right hand corner of the block. should have something that looks like this. Now I'm going to press it, and I'm going to press towards the red. Finger press that a little bit first. Use my magic wand. That's what I'm going to call this from now on, my magic wand, because it's magic. Give that a quick press. And set that aside. Now we're going to do our half square triangles. This block is the easiest one. So it's kind of just to get you started. So what you're going to want to do, because these are big squares, is you're going to want to draw your line from corner to corner on the back of one of your squares. And then we're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side of that line. And we've cut these big enough that you have plenty, that you don't need to do a scant or anything else. And we're going to trim down. I'd rather trim down and make sure that we have big enough squares than to cut it close and then they end up being too small. So that's kind of the way I write all my patterns, so you don't have to worry. So I'm going to bring this to my machine and sew a 1/4 inch on either side of that line. We're going to do that with the yellow and the green, both. I'm just going to flip it around. I'm not even going to cut the thread. Go to the other side of the line. Done. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Flip it around, sew a 1/4 inch on the other side. Now I'm going to grab my ruler up here, that's long enough, and I'm going to cut these apart right on that line I drew. So if you're using a friction pen, don't iron that line away yet. Cut them apart first so you know where to iron. Use any kind of marking device you like. I like the friction pen. I know there's some controversy as whether the pen comes back or not. I've never had that problem except for the red color. And once you wash it, it's gone permanently, except the red can leave white marks on your fabric, or at least that's what I found. That's just me. So you do what you want to do. But if you see, I cut red on that line and it's almost gone already just from cutting, and it's on the back side of the fabric, so you're never going to see it. So I'm not worried about it. But I know there's people out there that prefer other things, and that's fine. You could use a chalk pen, you can use a water-soluble marker, whatever you like. So what did I do with my little, there it is. Alright, I'm going to use my pressing pen, and I'm going to press open these squares so we can trim them down. Now don't forget to trim these, because if you leave them this size, they're going to be way too big for this block. We're trimming these down to 6.5 inches square. And I decided to write this pattern with big blocks because there are a few of the blocks that have quite a few pieces, and I thought it would be quite a bit easier to piece them if the block ended at 18 inches instead of something like 12 or 9. I really want y'all to be able to finish this, so I don't want to make it so difficult that you get frustrated and put it in a drawer and never see it again. I've had plenty of projects like that in the past. iron these last two. If you've got a 6.5-inch ruler, that would be great for this project. You don't have to have one. Don't feel like you need to run out and get one. But if you do, that'd be great. But you'll need a ruler at least 6.5 inches to trim these down, or larger. And I found when I worked on the other blocks that some of the pieces were smaller, but I was still able to use my 6.5-inch ruler to trim them. So if you've got one, great. If you don't go buy one. Just use what you get. Okay, those are all ironed. Move my iron a little bit out of the way. There we go. And now we're going to trim these. We're going to trim all of these down to 6.5 inches square. So like I said, I've gotten a 6.5-inch ruler. So I'm just going to, on these rulers, if you can see, sorry, the light is shining in it, there's a diagonal line right across the ruler. So I'm going to put that diagonal right on the line that I sewed, and I'm going to trim it all the way around. If you've got a rotating cutting mat, that would be helpful for this part. I'm actually going to stand. I feel like I cut better when I stand. Okay, I've got that one trimmed to 6.5. Do the same for all the others. Again, putting that diagonal line right on the seam. And just trimming all the way around the block. Do the same for the green and the yellow. Those cleaned up a little bit. I am right-handed. I taught myself how to cut left-handed because my daughter's left-handed. So I had to teach her how to cut, and I didn't know how to do that when she first started sewing. So I learned how to cut left-handed, so I can do both. All right, I'm gonna put my rotary cutter away because I don't need that anymore. And we're gonna sew now. Yay. Okay, so let's arrange these blocks. We're gonna put the red, move my little trash can, put the red here with the red square down to the bottom right. I'm going to put the yellow half square triangle with the yellow butted up against the red. Next will come a white background square. Then we will have the other yellow also up against the red. Then the solid yellow. Then we'll have a white background square. Oops, we're out of space here because it is such a big block. And then we will have a white background square here. Oops, I put this one in the wrong spot, I'm sorry. This is going to get a green, after the yellow, you're going to get a green half square triangle to begin the leaf or the stem. And then we're going to have a green half square triangle down here. And then a white square here. Sorry, that kind of is hard to see. I'm going to try to move this up just a little bit. Hopefully you guys can still see this. So I'm not falling off here. I'm going to put this green square here. White and white. So there's your layout. So now we're putting it together like an iPad. So you're going to do 3, 3, 3, and then we're going to put the rows together. So I'm going to start with this bottom row because it's closest to me, and I have a feeling if I grab the top rows first, these are going to fall on the floor. So I'm just going to put one block at a time. So 1/4 inch, and put these together. If you've got all your fabrics cut and you are not on YouTube teaching, this block will probably take you 15 minutes-ish. So this is a nice, quick and easy one to start the program. Now each week, like I said, will get a little bit harder, so it'll be more and more time each week, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see the whole thing come together. Last piece, and then we can put our rows together. Now you can pin these if you want. I just don't pin if I don't have to, but certainly pin if you need to. Okay, now check this one. Okay, that's fine. Thought the seam was coming apart a little bit. It's fine. All right, so now I'm going to iron these, and I'm going to iron the top and bottom row to the right, and I'm going to iron the middle row to the left, so we can nest this all up very nicely. So bring my iron back a little bit. Using the pen does take a little bit of extra time, but I just like the way that everything comes out. Top row, middle row to the left. Is anybody else ready for spring? I surely am. I don't mind the winters. I live in Ohio, so we get lots of snow. But what gets old, and I'm sure a lot of people that live in places like I do can tell you, is it's not the snow, it's the gray. Everything's very gray. I'm looking forward to seeing the sunshine again. One of the reasons I picked these bright, sunny fabrics, because I thought, even though it's not sunny here yet, I can look at these fabrics and look forward to spring. Rows are all pressed. Now we can put them together. Put them back in the correct positions again before I start, so I don't make a mistake. So you may want to pin at the intersections so they nest up really nicely. Again, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Oh, these are nesting beautifully because we pressed in the opposite direction. Perfect. Hit those points right on. All right, now I'm going to add the last row. awesome. So there's our block. Okay, I'm going to stop the camera and move it back up. I don't like to do that while I'm on with you guys and make you seasick. So I will be right back. So we're all done, and as you can see, I've got 2 beautiful blocks behind me. Don't forget to make 2. I sewed one with you and do one on your own, and we'll do that every week. I'll show you how to do one and then do the second one on your own. This one was super easy and quick and a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you next week. Take care and have a good one. Bye.